Welcome back to another episode. San Francisco Giants beat the Dodgers 10-4, taking 2 of 3 in a series unfortunately they could have swept, but, things happened, made some very careless mistakes that cost them a game, but they still took 2 of 3. That's a huge series win considering this team has not beaten really any good teams this season. They've really struggled against teams above 500. So it completes a 5-2 homestand, gets the Giants back to 41 and 44 on the season. They're still 3 games back in the wild card, but they are hanging in there in a stretch that really could have buried them. Coming off that road trip, they were already 6 games under 500. They had just lost 2 of 3 to Chicago a couple series prior, and then you're looking at the Dodgers coming to town. So it's a series they really needed. It's a series that I think a lot of people expected them to, maybe at best win 3 out of 4. I'll be honest, I kind of felt about the same way coming into this homestand where it felt like they were circling the drain. So kudos to the team for kind of digging themselves out of that a little bit. They're still behind the 8 ball, uh, so to speak, at the moment. There are some things that the club desperately needs to work on, but this is a huge series win for them, and it kind of keeps them afloat. So we're going to, talk a little bit about the good, the bad of the entire series. But first, as always, if you guys enjoy this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter, right down there at EYD Show. Um, Also, give me some feedback if you guys want me to look into some audio, just downloading the audio. I had one person bring it up. Comment down below kind of if you guys, for those that do like to listen to podcasts, whether it's like Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, tell me what you guys think is your favorite. So I just kind of know kind of where to direct those if I'm going to start looking into that. So appreciate the feedback though from everybody. But now talking about the series a little bit. Um, they really thoroughly outplayed the Dodgers in this series. The one thing they did in this series that really held them back was just running into too many outs. And for those of you that do follow me on Twitter, you probably saw the one I sent out this morning after, Nick Ahmed carelessly rounded second and got picked, they threw it behind him and got him, thinking Soler was going to be running on the single to right field. I think it was Fitzgerald maybe had the single to right, or whoever it was that was on third. But Ahmed rounded second, gets thrown out from behind, and this is a day after they get run into 2 outs on third base with when there were no outs at the time. With Chapman trying to steal a bag where he thought he had Glasnow timed up, and then um, Soler taking off for third base and getting thrown out on a ground ball to the shortstop. Um, the two things I've always said against when you're at a talent disadvantage, we'll call it, because the Dodgers, I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, the Dodgers have just significantly more talent than the Giants do. That's just reality. But when you're at a talent disadvantage, there's two things you can't do. You can't give them more outs, meaning making a bunch of careless errors or mistakes, throwing to the wrong bags, whatever. You can't give them extra outs. And the other one is you can't run into extra outs. You're going to have to play a clean game if you're going to beat those teams. And you know what? They didn't play clean games, and they did manage to win 2 of 3. So, I mean, it kind of goes against what I'm saying here, but it did cost them a win. And so that's just something they need to clean up. But I'm not here to just harp on the bad. There was a lot of good things in this series. The first one I want to start off with is Elliot Ramos was in a bit of a funk. He was 1 for 22 coming back home when they started this homestand. And he just went 9 for 28 with 3 doubles, 4 walks, a sac fly, and he only struck out 4 times in 33 plate appearances. Quietly, his strikeout percentage right now is all the way down to 26.5%, which is great improvement because he was up, in the 30% range. And I know I said if he could just get that down like 3 or 4%, that'd be great. And he's slowly dropping that down. I'd love to see it down at like 25%, especially with the power he provides. That's, I think, a reasonable range for him. He's always going to have some swing and miss, but if he can keep it down in that range and provide power, I mean, that's a legit middle of the order hitter. So, great for him. The other thing I had mentioned previously with him was, it's almost a good thing to see him go through a slump like he did because it gives you confidence if he can come out of it on the other side and have a ton of success and get hot again. You look at it as, okay, this guy, the league adjusted to him and he adjusted right back to have success. So it's really good to see him coming out of that slump. Jorge Soler, Matt Chapman, both heating up. They both provided a lot of good at bats in this series, especially against the Dodgers. Chapman with a couple homers and a couple other big hits. Jorge Soler, he had three doubles over the last 2 days. He's hitting the ball hard. He's drawn a couple walks. He's not chasing nearly as much as he had been before. I mean, if those guys heat up, you could see this team, get rolling a little bit. Michael Conforto had a really good game yesterday. Had a double that almost left the yard off the center field fence. Also drew a couple walks. So if you get those three guys and Ramos kind of in the middle, top of your order, this team could get rolling a little bit. Brett Wisely, big shout out to the Garden Gnome lookalike. He with the home run to right field walk off in the first game of the series. That was awesome. I love watching Wisely playing right now. He's doing a lot of great things. I don't like seeing Ahmed play over him, even against lefties, but they're going to do what they're going to do. And especially when Ahmed has a solid game like he did today, it's just going to earn him more playing time. But Tyler Fitzgerald had a really good game today. He also stole a bag. I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday. They could use his speed. David VR having a really nice, stretch to open up, coming back up in this homestand. Had a home run against Chicago. Had a couple doubles against LA. I mean, if he didn't have some topspin on the one yesterday, it might have been a walk-off. Patrick Bailey bouncing back today to have a really good game. I thought he played his worst game of the season yesterday. Really, with all the mistakes, it's not just him, but with all the mistakes yesterday, like he had three opportunities or three different plays that kind of were turning points, and two in particular where he dropped now it was a tough short hop. I understand that. But it did hit the meat of the glove and he dropped it on a ball that Matos had. I think it might have been Hayward nailed by a mile or whoever it was. And he just dropped it. It is what it is. And then he comes up with the bases loaded yesterday in the extras, and he can't get the job done. That would have ended the game there as well. So, I mean, he's had a lot of clutch moments, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. It was probably his worst game of the season, in my opinion. But he bounced back today. He had several RBIs. I think he had 3 RBIs today off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the box score, people. Sorry. He had 3 RBIs, I think, today, at least a couple hits. Definitely had to feel good after yesterday. And, anytime you can beat the Dodgers 10-4, it's a good day. So not a ton of negatives. Like I said, just the big things are there's a lot of lack of situational awareness from this club. I'd like to see them running into less outs. They've been doing it all season, but it's just really frustrating because when you're not a great team and you start making mistakes like that kind of beat yourselves, you're going to end up losing games like yesterday, where at the end of the year, we may end up looking at them. And if they're, 2 or 3 games, give or take one direction, if you miss the playoffs by a game or two, you're going to look back at games like that and just kick yourselves for it. So, but a lot of young guys doing a lot of great things. We saw great things out of, really good things out of Hayden Birdsong the other day. Spencer Bivens giving them 5 innings today was great. The bullpen, they're coming through. They desperately need to start getting some innings out of guys because this bullpen is, you can tell they're gassed out right now. And they get a day off tomorrow, which is desperately needed. And the All-Star break's, about 2 weeks away. But they've got to figure out the starting pitching. And I think it sounds like Harrison's going to be back sooner than later. For those of you looking for updates, I believe Cobb is going to rehab in San Jose. Robbie Ray just threw 48 pitches in San Jose in a rehab start. He was in Sacramento like a week ago. He went to San Jose so he could just stay in California and close by. So he threw 48 pitches. Snell, I didn't see what his pitch count was, but he did go 3 innings for Sacramento a few days ago against Vegas. He got knocked around a little bit. It's entirely possible he's just treating it kind of as almost like how pitchers will treat spring training, where it's just get right, get healthy, get your stuff going, and then worry about the results after. So I'm not really caring as much about the earned runs and things like that, but He just needs to start throwing strikes, and he needs to, make guys swing the bat, because guys are just letting him throw a bunch of balls, letting him walk guys, letting him get behind, and then just crushing when he has to groove one. But he's getting closer. So they could have some reinforcements. As I've said in the past, I don't like sitting here and just counting on guys like Alex Cobb, who's had a bunch of setbacks already. But I do think Harrison and Snell are probably really close, and Robbie Ray seems to be on track to be back, right around the All-Star break, just after. His pitch count might not be up very high. He may only be at like 70 pitches by about then, but it will be an arm that can eat up, 4 innings at a time, 4 or 5 innings. So they need those right now really badly, because the bullpen is just getting kind of abused by how much use they've been receiving. We saw what else we got? We saw Spencer Howard got DFA'd today. He's a nice story and all. I'm not trying to like hate on the guy or anything like that, but he threw so many fastballs and hanging breaking balls middle. You can't constantly leave stuff out over the middle of the plate and then expect it to not get hit all the time. And he got away with it for a few outings. There's a few outings there where he didn't give up an earned run over 4 and change innings, or only give up 1 run. And I do get it where we want to give these guys credit and be like, oh, look, the results were there, but you just watch it and it's a ticking time bomb before the floor is going to foul out from under him, because you can't continually throw it out over the middle of the plate. And I hate saying I called the shot, but I was watching the game or during the game yesterday. He threw 2 lazy breaking balls out over the middle for Ohtani, and Ohtani didn't hit him. And I literally sent a text in a group chat going, I don't have any confidence that Ohtani's not going to hit a home run right here, because he's just leaving stuff out of the middle. And sure enough, next pitch, he goes yard. And it's like, you can't keep doing that. So he may or may not clear waivers. We'll see. There wasn't a corresponding move with it. It does appear that, I guess a corresponding move, so to speak, was they called Landon Root back up, which I really am happy to see that. I'm hoping they give him, they were trying to stretch him out down in the minors. Then he got injured. Then he's been trying to stretch back out. Hopefully they allow him to do that. But if anything, I have more confidence than him than I did really Howard or Luke Jackson, for that matter. But they didn't make a 40-man corresponding move, which I'd imagine it's gonna end up being one of these guys coming off the 60-day, if I had to guess. So other than that, lots of looking forward, they've got Atlanta, they've got Cleveland on the road. That's going to be a big road trip starting on Tuesday. And then they play the 6 games. They get another day off the following Monday, and then they're going to come home, and they've got I think it's Minnesota and Toronto, or Toronto, Minnesota. It's one of those orders. So big 12 games. If they can find a way to win, in my opinion there, if they can find a way to win 7 of those 12, I mean, obviously in a perfect world, you'd love to see them go, probably at least like 8-4, and then go into the All-Star break with a winning record. That'd be great. I think if they can win 7 of those and then get into the All-Star break, you'd be feeling at least decent about the club, with all the guys that will hopefully be coming, with all the arms that will hopefully be coming off injuries, or the injured list in the near future. So that's kind of where I see them, but it's going to be really difficult, especially Cleveland. That is a really good team. Atlanta's reeling a little bit. I think 2 of 3 is doable. As great as that club can be, the pitching is not phenomenal. They're down Acuna. They've been reeling. I think they can be beat a little bit, where you possibly take 2 of 3 in that series. So lots of good things in this series. We've had a lot of videos where we've been really hard on the club. And I wanted to, anytime you win a series against LA, you're going to get a lot of positivity out of me, because nothing's going to make me happier than seeing the team beat LA. So that's all I've got for today. Tomorrow, come check out the live stream. Come join us. I believe we're aiming for 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Ricky is joining me for that. We're going to be talking a lot of minor league ball. Ricky's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to the minor leagues. Similar to me, he watches a ton of those games. We enjoy that stuff. He's going to have lots to say. He's got probably way more knowledge than I do when it comes to kind of those those under the radar, diamond in the rough prospects. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit on those guys, see who he really likes. So definitely join us tomorrow night. I'm going to try and figure out a way to get the highlights still to show up for everybody so people can see them while we're talking about players. I can't make any promises on that front though, so we'll see. But if anything, we're going to talk, we're going to talk a lot of prospects tomorrow, and we're going to be doing a game where we're going to do kind of a keep, sell, or keep, trade, whatever. We're going to probably rank guys in tiers on who we'd be willing to move in trades, or who we'd be looking to move, or who we, because of redundancies, and who we don't want to trade under any circumstances. So it'll be a fun one tomorrow night. So come check us out. Other than that, go Giants. And yeah, that's all I've got. Have a good weekend, everyone.